Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator on Overkill Simulations. And today we are comparing the two big GTN style GPS options that come up constantly from Microsoft Flight Simulator. We have the TDS GTNXi Pro, commonly called the TDS 750, and the PMS50 GTN750 Premium. And today we're going to compare the two and determine which one is the better pick for you. Stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together. Control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Alright, so first off, this is going to be more or less of a talking head without the head, if you guys catch the gist here, but I do have some slideshow presentations, comparison charts, and things like that I've put together to bring this all in. Now, what spawned all of this was actually the development of Hangar Control. Hangar Control, I created a touch screen in combination with glass out that will allow you to control both the PMS50 and the TDS. The problem is, in order to do that, I needed to purchase both of them. So I got to thinking, like, which one is the better deal? And we have users who have both. Some have the freeware version of one and the payware of the other. So I figured I would break it down and hopefully help you decide which one is better for you, as the GTN750 is an extremely popular navigation system, and I think that it's important to go over the details between them because one may offer a piece that the other doesn't, and they obviously have their own price points. So I want to get the tone right at the beginning. This is not going to be some lazy fanboy, this one's better because I bought it kind of comparison. I purchased both of them. These two products are built from completely different philosophies. TDS is giving you the Garmin GTNXi experience in the simulator, built around the trainer-style ecosystem with the modern Xi interface. Navigraph nav data and chart support, VC integration, and very realistic feels. PMS50 is a sim-native GTN750 style instrument, built from scratch on top of the MSFS and working title ecosystem, with a free light version and a very affordable premium license, strong simulator integration, a toolbar panel, and a ton of practical sim features. So the real question is not just which one is better, the real question is which one is better for the way that you fly. If you care most about real Garmin style behavior, the modern Xi interface, RF legs, LPV coupling, and high fidelity trainer style experience, TDS has a very strong argument. If you care most about value, sim integration, a free entry point, working title compatibility, toolbar use, MSFS flight plan workflow, and external control events for hardware, PMS50 has a very strong argument. By the end of this video, you should have a clear answer on which one makes sense for you, and where one has trade-offs, and one doesn't. Okay, so first let's go over what are they. Let's start with the most important distinction because it explains almost everything else. The TDS product is the TDS GTNXi. It includes both GTNXi 750 and the 650. And it is built around the standalone Windows executable that communicates with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 as well as 24. It can run as an external window. and it can be fully integrated into supported virtual cockpits such as the Commander 114 from Black Square that we showed at the beginning of the video. The big identity here is realism and the modern GTN-Xi experience. It is trying to look, feel, and behave much closer to the real Garmin Xi family. The PMS50 product is the PMS50 GTN750. It is not an integration of the Garmin trainer. PMS50 explicitly says it is built from scratch using Isobo and working title development tools. So the idea is a simulator integration first. It looks similar to the older style Garmin GTN750, but it is not trying to be an exact Garmin trainer replica. The advantage of that approach is flexibility. Because PMS50 controls the code, they can add features that may not exist in the real unit or in a trainer-based product. That means TDS starts from how close can we get to the real GTN-Xi workflow. PMS50 starts with how well can we integrate a GTN-style navigator into Microsoft Flight Simulator. Neither philosophy is automatically better, they are just different, and that difference matters. Now let's talk price, because this is one of the biggest real-world differences. PMS50 has a free light version when downloaded from the PMS50 website. That light version gives you the basic GTN750 functionality needed to fly a flight plan. Premium unlocks the deeper feature set. Current PMS50 pricing is €20 per year or €50 for a lifetime. There is also a €30 upgrade from annual to lifetime. So PMS50 is clearly the lower cost option, and it has a huge advantage of letting you test the light version before spending a single penny. The TDS GTNXi Pro, however, is a paid product. Current pricing on the TDS site is €64.95, excluding VAT, with the site showing roughly $75 in US pricing depending on currency conversion. If you already own the older base TDS product, the Pro upgrade is listed at €24.95. But for a new buyer, the relevant product is the TDS GTNXi Pro. So value-wise, the PMS50 wins the entry point. It is free to try and cheaper to own. TDS is more expensive purchase, but you are paying for the GTN-Xi experience, the modern interface, Navigraph Pro integration, cross-fill, VC integration support, and the high-fidelity Garmin-style workflow. My pricing takeaway is pretty simple. If you are budget sensitive, start with the PMS50 Lite. If you already know you want the closest GTN-Xi style experience possible, TDS is priced like a premium Avionics add-on. Which brings us into the feature list. Feature lists can get messy fast, so I want to group this in a way that actually helps. TDS is strongest when you care about realistic GTN-Xi behavior. It includes both the 750Xi and the 650Xi in the same package. It supports a high-resolution modern interface, advanced mapping, airport diagrams, terrain, obstacles, airspaces, graphical flight planning, direct-to, procedures, airways, search and rescue patterns, live METAR, adds B-style traffic, comm and nav radios, a transponder, an audio panel. TDS also makes a big deal out of the fully coupled LPV approaches with the default Microsoft Flight Simulator autopilot and support for RF legs. Whew, that was a mouthful. PMS50 is strongest when you care about practical Microsoft Flight Simulator integration. The premium version adds charts, extended maps, weather radar using sim weather data, heading line, GSI, autopilot page, user fields, crossfill with Isobo and working title Garmin instruments, working title G3X compatibility, sim brief import, VATSIM, IVAO, ATC pages, map field pages, METAR, TAF, toolbar panel support, and external hardware control events. External hardware control events, just to make sure you guys are clear, allows you to use third-party hardware, your Stream Decks, whatever it may be, to actually control the physical knobs on the device. With TDS, that gets a little bit more complicated, but we did manage to pull that off with hangar control. So the comparison is not just a feature count, it's a feature direction. TDS leans towards realistic avionics environment. PMS50, as we've talked now hopefully very heavily, leans towards that flexible simulator toolset. So now, this is where you really need to think about your normal workflow. TDS GTNXi Pro includes Navigraph support for updatable nav data and charts, but Navigraph is not included. You still need to have an active Navigraph subscription for the updatable database and charts. TDS also supports the Garmin-style GFP flight plan imports, and it is very much in its own GTNXi workflow. If you like building or importing routes directly into the Navigator and flying it like a self-contained avionics unit that feels right, then this is the way to go. PMS50 Premium also, though, supports Navigraph charts, and in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, it can use Navigraph, Lido, FAA charts, depending on the feature and platform. PMS50 also has a SimBrief import, local plan file import, so you can actually just download it or import it directly into the avionics unit, ATC flight plan import with WTT mode, and a flight plan catalog, as well as user waypoints, strong integration with the simulator's working title flight planning in its framework. So the practical difference is TDS feels more like a dedicated avionics box with its own Garmin-style workflow. PMS50 feels more blended into Microsoft Flight Simulator, especially when working titles technology is involved. If your route starts in SimBrief or Little Nav Map and you want to be able to manage them inside the sim environment, PMS50 is very convenient. If you want the GTNXi to feel like the center of the cockpit as it would be in a real aircraft, TDS is more compelling. So you guys can sort of see what this is going on. It really comes down to how deep of a simmer are you? How realistic of experience are you looking for? Now let's get into the overall setup. Both products obviously support Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, but again, the implementation is different. TDS GTNXi Pro supports both 2020 and 2024. TDS says the Pro product or Pro upgrade is required for 2024 support, so keep that in mind. And the older TDS GTNXi is not compatible with 2024. So if you have the older version and decide to move up, or you want to go that route, and you still have to buy the Pro upgrade. TDS also has default Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 aircraft integration through sim attachments for select aircraft, plus virtual cockpit integrations for supported third-party aircraft. Again, Black Square being one of them that very commonly supports both. PMS50 says its GTN750 is compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, 2024, using the same package, with the instrument automatically detecting the simulator version and loading the appropriate working title SDK. The PMS50 documentation also warns that some 2020 aircraft can still have compatibility issues in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. So again, that's 2020 aircraft being used in the 2024 simulator, especially around the working title G3X equipped aircraft, because the aircraft itself has to be compatible. So my Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 takeaway is both are viable. Once again, TDS requires Pro generation for 2024, and the PMS50 has one package for both sims, but aircraft level compatibility still matters. Now, that's not becoming too much of an issue lately, as more and more developers are starting to lean towards 2024, and many of the old legacy aircraft from 2020 have pretty much caught up. For a review video, I would not say one supports 2024 and the other does not. That would be wrong. The accurate version is both support Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, but their installation and aircraft integration paths are slightly different. Next, we'll talk about how you actually use them in the cockpit. TDS can run as a standalone external program next to Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is very useful for multi-monitor setups. It can also be fully integrated into supported virtual cockpits, including mouse control and VR compatibility when integrated into an aircraft. TDS includes, again, the 750 XI and 650 XI, so you are not buying a separate 650 unit. PMS50 can be integrated into supported aircraft with a 3D bezel. But one of its biggest practical features is the in-game toolbar panel. That means you can bring the GTN750 into almost any aircraft, even if that aircraft does not have a built-in GTN750 option. So for a lot of sim users, this is a massive convenience. There is one more important limitation, though, on the PMS50 toolbar side. The documentation notes that popped-out GTN750 touch events are not transmitted from the simulator to the instrument. So a popped-out PMS50 GTN750 does not work with a touchscreen because of its MSFS limitation. Now, that no longer is the case as of 2024, I can confirm. So the documentation is a little behind there, so don't fret. My guess would be is that was a 2020 limitation. But I can tell you through the use of glass out as well as the use with hanger control, the touchscreen functionality works great. And the nice thing, again, about hanger control is you get a similar piece that you get with the TDS. If you use a tool like hanger control, you can then transmit the PMS50 or broadcast it to any mobile device as well. It doesn't even have to be on the same machine. So your cell phone, your iPad, anything like that can also be used as a GTN750 using both the PMS50 and the TDS. So that's no longer a limitation on either side, depending on what tool you're using to integrate with. So now let's talk about the TDS pros and cons. And to be honest, I kind of think TDS still wins this particular card. So, the pros. TDS is the stronger choice for people who want the modern GTNXi experience as mentioned above. You get both the 750 and 650 Xi once again. It has a very high resolution modern interface. It supports updatable Navigraph nav data charts. The Pro product is extremely strong. It has strong mapping, airways, procedures, all those things that we mentioned up above, and it feels like a dedicated Avionics product. The cons, not too many really. It costs more up front, that part is definitely true. Navigraph is still required, but it's really required for just about anyone if you want to use specifically Navigraph. So it really doesn't depend whether you're using the PMS50 or not. You'd still have to do that. However, the other con is it is specific to aircraft, meaning that if the aircraft does not support the use of the TDS, you can't use it. You can sort of use it on a third-party pop-out, but again, experiences may vary. Now for the PMS50. The pros, the PMS50 is extremely strong on a value in the MSFS integration. You get the free light version, so you get the PMS50 Lite, and the premium is relatively inexpensive compared to most Avionics add-ons. It is built from scratch using the Asobo and working title tools, which means it can very easily integrate tightly with Microsoft Flight Simulator, working title flight planning, and all those mentioned things. We're not going to go through the whole list again. And again, can be used for just about any aircraft you want. The cons, it's not a Garmin trainer integration. PMS50 is clear that you should not expect an exact replica of the real unit. So if you're someone who's looking for a true training style aid or that true real world experience, this is not the way that you want to go. So my PMS50 summary is it's the best value focused for simmers. People who want to fly many different aircraft, users who want to use the toolbar and the flexibility, the sim brief convenience, etc., but isn't necessarily needing the real thing. So the final piece of which one should you buy? If you are new to this and you're not sure, start with the PMS50 Lite. It is free, it gives you real-world tests in your setup, and you can later decide whether or not premium is worth it. And if you decide that you want to go deep diving and really learn the real GTN, then you can switch from PMS50 over to TDS. If you are building a serious IFR setup and you specifically want the modern GTNXi feel, TDS is the more premium, realism-focused option. It is the one I would look at first if I wanted the GPS to behave more like a dedicated Garmin XI navigator and I care deeply about instrument experience itself. If you are a content creator like yours truly, hardware builder, or hanger control user, PMS50 has a lot going for it as well. But again, I want to stress that for hanger control, I'm proud to say as of yesterday's video, both TDS and PMS50 are now supported. So don't worry about that there. You can use them both on any device that you want. So my final recommendation is not a TDS wins or PMS wins, it's this. TDS wins if the realism and modern GTNXi category, PMS50 wins if
the value, flexibility, and sim integration category. Pick the one that matches your cockpit, not the one that has the longer feature list. Because you'll be surprised that if you're just someone who enjoys getting into the sim and flying around, there's many of those features that you may never touch. Food for thought, something to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and be sure to check out hangar control at overkillsimulations.com. Stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.